Timing was off today. Sorry. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Gray Bricks. We are on the semi-final episode of Lego Masters, which there's only, 4 mocks to judge, so we may go through our creations contest. We may go through all this and then just jump into talking about all the cool space stuff that's coming out before we do it on Thursdays. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Let's see who is in the chat already. Battery Powered Bricks. Hello. Once again, here to spoil an episode I haven't seen yet. I'm very sorry. Iceberg, what's up, man? How you doing? There is a lot of gray in this channel. Either it's turning gray or turning loose in this channel. So there you go. That's right. Alternate candidate is here. Hello. Good to see you. Stever is here. Stever. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. Good to have y'all here. Thanks for joining us on Monday. We only got one more episode of Lego Masters left. Is that correct?
No, 2. Next week actually is in the semifinal. Next week is one called Best Bricks or something like that, which is the outtake show or the refresh show. I'll get the proper name for it in 2 seconds here. I'm just opening a browser.
Did they do that because they had to have a filler episode? Is that what they did?
So, yeah. It's called Bricks and All is the next episode. So Bricks and All.
We won't cover that. Unless
we watch it and we go, oh my god, we got to talk about this. Then we'll do it. But otherwise, no, I don't.
All right, we have been challenged not to be nice today. We don't have any contestants. We could be jerks.
And I'm already going to preface this because. Which today was something that was uncharacteristic for the OGB offline chat, which was we actually started discussing this episode this afternoon, which we never do. We never do that. There is already contention about a lot of things.
We'll talk about it for 10 minutes because we've already done everything.
No, we're already. I mean, I'm already fueled up. I'm like caffeinated for this episode. So, yeah,
I got you. Armchair the crap.
Armchair the crap. Actually, you know what? Today isn't going to be so much a builder critique. It's going to be a judging critique.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think based on our text messages that we actually disagree about who should have won or who should have gone home. We just disagree with the judging.
Yes.
Oh, don't go soft on me now, Chris.
I'm the only one that kind of disagrees about the winning. We all are in disagreement with the judging on the bottom part of the show. So we will get to that in just a second. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the episode itself. Honestly, I can't remember how much there was willing going on. I enjoyed the Emily and Will banter that was going on a little bit, but it was.
I skipped the middle third of the episode because I got to a point where I'm just like, bleh, and I fast forwarded to the part where they show us the builds.
You know what? I concur with that you did that because there was a point in time where I was like. I mean, if I had to watch one more Lego Master logo come up between a commercial and, this chilling drama of 30 seconds before to then re-air the same 30 seconds after the commercial, I was like, oh my God, just get this over with. Get us to the judging. I want to see what happens. So, yeah.
All right. But let's talk about the beginning. We actually saw some tension between Nina and Sam where Nina's like, well, if you hadn't spent 3 hours trying to reinvent the loop, like, this is the first time we saw Mom kind of like doing the mom thing of like,
But at the same time, though, and this was the first time we've seen Sam go, okay, and pivot, and take the and completely go back and do what was said. Hey, don't reinvent the wheel. Here you go. But that being said, no spoilers. Yeah, no spoilers, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
But here's the other thing, though. We might have seen Sam do that in the Lego Rug episode if they didn't have the golden brick. Like, he pressed on partly because he had that security blanket of we can't get down.
Correct.
So we don't know what we would have seen, if that weren't the case.
Absolutely correct. And I think, and he was very openly about the fact that, well, because they had the golden brick, they just said, throw caution to the wind. Let's make this good TV and let's go with it. Who knows whether he was prodded by producers at some point in time to say use a golden brick. I know from other shenanigans that golden brick pressure has been put on before. We know that the golden brick was not brought back into play because that way there would be no reason for someone this episode to play a golden brick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I wonder, with the loss of a team, did they say, okay, we just got to shelve the golden brick because it's not going to play out well?
Right. Well, and I think Mark and Steven showed them the error of their ways if you allow that to happen. So I think we will never see that happen again.
Yeah. Although, I mean, you got to think, though, they've got to think of some new wrinkles. I like the fact that if they did some things where there's smaller builds for a reward in the bigger build and other things like that. I really think they need to start thinking that through and mixing that up.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had any, add this to your build. And I kind of like those, no real big spins or shocks or anything. So I don't know.
But if you also notice this was another 12-hour episode or 12-hour build. So that was
the first one, wasn't it?
Basically, all of them have been either 10 or 12 hours. There was no,
because a few of them were 6, or one of them was 6, I think.
Or was 8? Okay,
there was an 8-hour in there. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, season 1 and 2, we would see 20-hour builds.
I think this was the first 12-hour, actually.
Have they all been 10s before that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So they got an extra 2 hours
because of the geometry of track.
Yeah. And that being said, and Moto dropped in already, Kosher Elements have really weird Lego math, which makes them super tough. This was a technical challenge through and through, by far. Yeah. So,
but okay. Here's the thing, though. I've never built a roller coaster, one of the roller coaster sets. It would be, if you haven't built that particular, just 2 sets out of the entire collection of Lego sets for what's the anniversary? How many years?
Yeah.
If you haven't done that too, you are in the blind, and there was no tutorial for that, and it's pretty technical and technicky. And if you haven't built the sets to learn all the ins and outs and the whatever, then you were really behind the 8 ball. And it sounds like from Emily that was something they didn't have that skill in their wheelhouse and everything.
And
I'm not going to say that hurt them because I think they did well.
Right. So, but that being said, it also gave them a good reason to go safe, which I think was the smart decision. And I think they did exactly what they should have done from their perspective. Not feeling very comfortable with the roller coaster technical portion of it. Go safe, make sure it works, go story, which they did. But yeah, so let's get into it. Let's talk about these builds. Let's bring them up. Let's get into it.
Yes, no, I'm with this. I want to see a challenge. I have to kick the completed build to the upright. I'm with that.
Yeah.
Hook it right to the side. All right. So we kind of got into the challenge. Was this a favorite challenge where you're like, oh, I'm excited by this, or like, oh, this is gonna be hard, or this is not that fun?
I
better.
Sorry, the skill challenge.
Yeah,
you have to do skill, and it also involved, there's technical side, but there's also the drama of watching the will the thing actually work? Will it go off the track? Will things crash?
Yeah,
and it wasn't manufactured like, oh, let's blow stuff up. It's like, will the Lego itself function in the intended way? And it's a drama within the Lego system.
It's not system. Yeah, it's total system. It's total system. Yeah.
Sorry. Just to that though, like last year's 4-player left competition was the build a race car in 2 teams and race around the track type thing. So this one was a better one than that, I think, just because it's not a time for teamwork. It's a time for, showing what you've got. But I think them throwing roller coaster track in it did favor the people who have used it before.
Well, yeah, I think it pushed your skills, regardless of whether, because I don't think that Sam and Nina had built the roller coaster set before. Sam even said that I tried to build a roller coaster and it failed. I don't think it was that he built the roller coaster before.
No, that was in one of their previous models.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I don't think he'd actually ever built one of the official sets.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I think I'm pretty darn sure that Christopher has built one, or if not both, of the official sets.
Both.
Whether crowd, I'm spacing names, but whether Christopher was the only one who had built them or not remains to be seen. So, I think it was definitely, let's see what you can do, even if you're not comfortable with this.
They did not hold back on the fact that they did, Emily was able to express, I don't know what's going on in this episode a lot. And the technical bit, you got to build the track and you got to do the lift and everything and get the height and stuff. It is finicky math and there's a lot of things. So you've got to do that. And then you've got to come up with the look, the play value, or whatever the look and the skill of that, which you would assume that's Amy's passion, and the roller coaster being technical is more Jamie's passion.
Yeah, right.
And you got to balance the both of those. And I'm not so sure that all the votes and the way they went fell evenly that way. I think, both were competing with each other. So I guess we can debate that. All right. So let's get into the bills. Any other thing about the episode that I'm trying to think?
Did they say that it had to be, like they said they were looking for steep drops. They said things like that. I'm wondering if one of the things they actually said was it needs to be technically challenging.
I don't know if I wouldn't say it needed to be technically challenging, because then there would be no reason to play it safe, because then that would have probably pushed Kelly and Emily to add in a loop or something dramatic. I don't think there was any requirement for that.
Okay.
But I don't think the loop was required. I wonder if there was a height limit. We don't know. What was you going to say, Matt? I'm sorry.
The opening sequence where they came out, they made Amy wear mom jeans. It was not flattering. Yeah. And Amy is very fashionable. If you follow her Instagram, I can't imagine that she wanted to wear those mom jeans. That was bad.
Those were serious baggy 80s wash. Yeah, acid wash. I mean, well, yeah.
I can just imagine her going, "You want me to wear these on?"
But you know what, though? For all we know, those could be her lounging around pants, and she wanted to wear them. Who knows? Time will tell.
Mom jeans have been back the last couple of years.
Oh, okay.
It's a sad reality. It is.
No, I don't think I've ever seen him on her Instagram account, though.
That's what his mom said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. They said theme and they said drop. Okay, so that's from Emily. That's what they said, and that was it. We all know the criteria for judging changes as the mood goes along. That's what it was. She was a tourist, so she was wearing mom jeans and the thing.
I got that, and I will say that I thought it was funny, Jamie wearing the handlebar mustache. So somewhere EJ was cackling or something.
But wait a minute, you know what? While we're talking about this, I am still in shock that there was not more Don Johnson references, and that there were certain cast members who didn't get the reference or didn't know. That bothered me. That really bothered me.
We're old. It's called Old Gray Books for a reason.
But
that
still,
was an
Miami
80s
Vice
show.
The introduction to Miami Vice with the Genesis song going on, Phil Collins screaming in his lungs. That is a quintessential classic 80s moment.
All right. How many?
That's Jan Hummer. That's not Phil Collins. Phil Collins.
Not Phil Collins.
How many cast members watched an episode of Miami Vice? I can guarantee you half of them were not cast members.
Oh, cast members. Well,
I can guarantee you that all the kids were born after Miami Vice went off the air. So again, Again, I teach 18-year-olds. I am constantly reminded of how old I am. You guys are forgetting this.
I'm sorry. Pop culture is pop culture. I mean, I still know who, Laurel and Hardy are, even though I wasn't alive when Laurel and Hardy were, popular.
Well, that's because we had reruns. We are not in the generation of you can just go back and watch whatever show you want whenever you want.
You can pull up anything you want at a heartbeat. I mean, come on.
And when you can pull up anything you want, why would you go back and watch back episodes of Miami Vice? I mean, this
is Don Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, that one just said in chat.
I just want to say that both Chris and Dana are right for different reasons. Chris was correct about the composer who wrote the Miami Vice theme. Dana is correct that Phil Collins wrote the song In the Air Tonight, where they play over a iconic scene where they're driving the Ferrari to go and like shoot up some bad guys and stuff. So
and Matt is right that the cast members are all too young.
Different thing.
And this is why we have 4 of us and not 2 of us or 3 of us.
That's right. Hang on, I got to find the right gift for this moment. So,
Emily and Robert are 23, which is that's as long as I've known Chris. So,
yeah.
And Emily says she's 33. So although Emily, you should have got that reference maybe, but
they were born in 2000, and if she's 33, she was born in 1990. So probably when did the show go off the air? Like 92? I don't know.
No, it was probably earlier than that. Yeah,
I'm gonna fact check it.
Yeah, but again, reruns. I don't know.
We're changing the name of this show to Frickin' Old Gray Bricks. That's what we're
gonna change it to Old Gray Pop Culture.
Oh, there it is. She's discovered the the young Don Johnson.
There you go.
Golden Girl stuck. Oh me. All right. So, and we've talked about a little bit that this is a young man's game here at Lego Masters. So we are armchair. We're not only armchair quarterbacking, we're lazy boy armchair quarterbacking this. So
84 to 89. So it was no longer on the air when she was born.
All right.
Born.
No,
watching television, but wearing diapers.
Here's what makes me mad is that I had, not that this happened, but the result of it, I had someone who graduated high school with me who had a kid that would be Emily's age.
Wow.
She had that baby in 89. I have a niece the same age, born in 89.
Oh no, I've had conversations with several AFOLs to realize that I am old enough to be their father. So yes, it's not a pleasant thought. Not a pleasant.
And let's move on. All right.
I told you, I had a student last semester who told me that I was the same age as her grandfather.
Oh. Yikes. That hurts.
That hurt a lot. I blew away like at the end of Avengers Endgame where the people just go into dust. That's why.
Hey, that would be cool. They should have, if they're going to have Lego Masters Junior, they need to have Lego Masters Senior. 55 and up. And I'm in a couple of years. So
there we go. You got to be retired. You have to be retirement age to be on Lego Master Seniors. Yeah.
Nobody runs to the brick pit. You just order some young kid. Hey, go give me that brick over there.
Everybody's got to have one of those little scooters. Yeah, right on.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's the first one. Christopher and Robert's Dragon Dance. Let's talk about this a minute. What do you guys think about the final build? And then we'll talk about the process that they went through to get there.
The first thing I want to say that when they first started, before they even started building anything, Christopher comes running around and drops down on the table and he says, "Mega Core Magnetizer."
Yeah, I know. Oh, cool.
I mean,
yes, he did.
I mean, I was sad that they didn't do a Mega Core Magnetizer build, but at the same time, I'm glad that somebody in editing had no idea and let them say it. And that was I was already Team Christopher and Robert already, and that just sealed the deal for me in this episode.
Yeah, agreed. I'm like, surely they're not going to let them get away with that, and then there it was. So that's awesome.
Now we got Jamie coming around to them early, and we saw what they were doing, and the fact that they were doing the spiral, which we've seen people do this with monorail track for decades, It's a common practice, just doing that slight bend, taking advantage of the plastic. But the fact that Jamie came around and kind of gave him the, this probably isn't going to work, and you probably don't have the time. And I totally expected Christopher and Robert to say, all right, we'll pivot. Mm-hmm. And then when he didn't, I was like, oh my God, this is going to make it or break it. Either they're going to win or they're going home. And we saw the result, and I was blown away. I was literally blown away that they got it to work after Jamie said it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. So, I was sitting at home, and I said to Thomas, I said, they're not going to be able to get it to spiral up, but they can already just have it go down. And I just assumed that was going to be their workaround. But we'll have it go down
the other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could coast down instead of being, and they got it to work, and I was genuinely impressed.
I was cheering I was more excited than Robert was when Christopher was excited. I was cheering because I couldn't believe that he got it to work and that Jamie was going to have to sit there and go, oh my God, you got it to work.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic.
We got Stever saying, I was screaming Megacore Magnetizer in excitement, and Tina was rolling her eyes.
One of us, Stever. One of us.
That's all right. Last week was your turn to roll your eyes because she was yapping about Harry Potter. So
yeah, you need to say expecto magna core magnus or something to her, and see what happens. All right. So go ahead.
I was going to say they slapped some brick together for that cloud. Could have been a little more cloudy. Their dragon wasn't as big as they probably would have liked it to be. But because they spent 7 hours getting the mechanics right, that was it. I mean, I mean, normally I would ding them for not having more storytelling going on here. I liked what they did with the eye and the tracks to give that different effect on the front there for their station. They could have done more with the storytelling, but they knocked it out of the park with the technical. So I think that gives them a pass on not doing more storytelling.
Yeah, but this roof and some of these mechanics are just straight out of the set, right?
The roof definitely is.
Is it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, similar pieces like it's the orange, the dark blue second roller coaster has a similar roof structure.
Okay.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's just kind of stealing it from a set. But the fact that they were out of time because they used 6 motors just to run those wheels. And I was surprised as we were watching it. People were like, oh, it hasn't gotten to the chain or it hasn't been caught yet. And I'm like, just throw a little motor and a wheel there and it'll go.
Right.
And no one was doing that until the very end. Then suddenly people are putting the wheels or the motors on.
And I think it's probably because Christopher and Robert were adding theirs in. And then people were like, oh, duh.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Here's a question. Did this make a circuit and then repeat the circuit at any point, or did it go around and stop at the station?
Their presentation, they had it stop at the station on purpose.
Yeah.
But yes, did it not? But I thought it was something that you had to make it loop and go through.
I don't think there was a loop requirement because everybody's thing was it went around once and that's all it had to do.
Yeah, it sounded like they needed. At one point, someone said it has to be a continuous loop and it has to keep going.
So they didn't prove to me that theirs would do that, and that's what I'm screaming.
Yeah.
God. I mean, the fact that they got that spiral to work, everything else is moot. I mean, they could have draped a dead body across that thing, and I wouldn't care because that spiral worked. I mean, seriously, I mean. If you got Jamie coming around telling you can't do this, it won't work, and you go, all right, Jamie, I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to show you. I don't care whatever else you put in there. That right there is all that had to be done.
All right, here we go. Emily said this. The only thing that bugged her was that the spike motors were exposed, and they got dinged on that in an episode. And everything.
You know what, Emily? I agree with you 100%, except for that's my dead body straight over this display because they got the spiral to work and told Jamie to snub himself.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Gravity's too hard for me to understand. Anyway, it's a mystery. All right. Anyway, just like magnetism.
It's Apple. It's an Apple thing. I know you're an Android. I know.
Yeah. When they said Magnecore magnetizer, I was thinking, oh, are they going to use magnets somehow too and stuff? And it was like, but then magnets aren't in.
That would have been neat.
All right.
So it did have to go around and connect again, but we didn't see them have to do that.
Well, and they probably ran it a few times maybe, and they just didn't put that in the cut, right?
That's entirely possible.
Well, here's how the episode was filmed for them. This was what we saw for the hour of the episode, and then all of a sudden, boom, this all happened. So we never saw any of this being put together or the wherewithal. I don't know how in the world that cloud is standing there on that big tower right there. With that
while Christopher was building the spiral, you could see Robert in the background building the cloud the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was being done, but
No, I get it, but I don't know if there's 2 stands for that, or is it just the one perch
Just
there?
one.
It's probably just got like a quad stack of Technic stuff holding it up.
Probably so. But I will say from a go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing I think is a little sort of funny conceptually for this roller coaster, though. Even though it looks really neat, the spiral and everything, imagine if you're riding this roller coaster and you spend 10 minutes going up a spiral to have one drop.
And
then it's over.
This style of coaster does exist, not that tall.
Right.
Like the local theme park near us, they have a spiral, and it takes a little while to go up, and it's probably about 5 or 6 loops to get it to the height they need it to.
And the other thing that was also interesting about this one is while they do have this really great straight down drop, they come down into a vertical curve.
Yeah.
Not an angled curve like we'll see when we get to the Kraken. It goes up vertically up the wall and turns and comes back down again. That you don't see either in any of the other builds or in any official build. So that was also some cool stuff.
Yeah. So also we agreed the spiral does bend the track a little bit. Obviously, it's giving it a push.
He was using like the 2x2 plate with the ball or with the Technic hole on it to give it the twist a bit. So I think it was probably just the bottom one that might have been twisted a bit. But yeah, there's a slight stress on them.
Illegal building.
I'm all for it.
All right. So, all right, let's move on here to Emily and Kelly's Ladybug flight. The interesting thing, this shot was not the one that they used when they were talking about it in judging, because this shot has a lot more detail on the back of it. What do you guys think of this build?
I think we said this earlier, and they even know it, and this was even commented that they played it safe. And considering that they didn't feel comfortable, that was probably the smart move, and just give us lots of flight motion, which kind of still goes with the whole flying and the bumblebee thing. The storytelling on this one was the top storytelling.
Yep.
Top storytelling across the board. The rest of the builds had no storytelling in comparison to this one. This one felt like something you'd see in a theme park. Those big giant flowers. You felt like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid is the theme for this ride. You're the size of a bug. They knocked it out of the park with the storytelling.
And on that note, on Dana's point, that's why I disagree with them being sent home, because while the coaster itself might not have been the most dramatic in terms of what the track did, the overall theming of the build was the best.
Correct.
Which I guess looking at it as a whole, I felt like this was a really solid build.
Yeah. I mean, if we were to take all 4 of these and only view them from an aesthetic value and take out the fact of the technical portions of the roller coaster, this would be the top build.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know. The Kraken.
I like it.
I think the Kraken would be in there.
Yeah.
The Kraken's in there. The Kraken's in there, but this one's still from a full perspective. It gives me everything. The Kraken is cool, and the waves, and we'll get to that. But as a big shot, as a stepping back and looking at it from a distance, this is the winner for me from appearance view.
Most like a real ride that you would see at Six Flags than the others.
Correct.
Yeah, and saying it was a kid's ride was totally valid too. I mean, yes, you didn't risk it. But I mean, you had spinning flowers all the time. Like one of those flower pieces could have flown off at some point.
Oh, yeah, that's a total health hazard right there.
I like
also,
it. Awesome.
Also, there's the they do have the scary spider there, which was cool.
Yep.
They did lettering. They have the walkway for the kids to get into the ride and everything like that. So, and the colors are really, really good. So this is where we had the discussion today. We disagree at who went home because this build should have stayed in the contest.
Emily just pointed out right by her name, there's a guy on the lattice there wearing a ladybug hat fixing the ride.
Which is funny.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
To pivot off of the guy fixing the ride and Dana's comment about dead body across it, what if somebody had made it so that like a minifig got decapitated as it came down on the track? I would have scored that for storytelling, but I don't know if it would have gone over with Fox's standards people. Who knows?
It would have gotten edited out, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it would have gotten edited
out. Would have gotten edited out. So here we go. And Emily, you wanted us to be straight up, and we are being straight up. This is the conversation we had today. Yep. You guys, in my opinion, this should have been the third place build of the night if they were going to judge it that way.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of agreeing here. I mean,
I agree, even though I wasn't included in that conversation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the Canadian is going with you too, eh? So, all right. Wish you could have seen it has a big old ladybug.
Our group chat would probably cost Jeff about $10,000 a month in text messages. So,
I actually, because certain people do text me, I actually do pay for American texting now.
Oh, well, I mean, you work for a telecom, right? Don't you get all your phone for free? Isn't that the way it works?
I pay like $22 Canadian a month for my phone.
Oof. Jeez. I wish.
Because I work for a telco.
Right. Oh, yeah.
All right. So all
Can
the
I
work
get on-
that she says in there.
Can I get on your family plan?
No, actually, it's a single plan. That's why it's 22 months. Yeah.
All right. So there it is. There's the honest truth, I believe, from our panel. No disrespect to the other build that was in third place, and we'll talk about it here in a second. But I think if the aesthetics and storytelling are as important to Lego Masters as they said, I don't think that got enough vote into the decision here.
Hey, Chris, can you go back to Christopher's for a second?
Go back to Christopher's?
Yeah. Is there any minifigs you can zoom in on that are in the display somewhere? Because I noticed almost every minifigure had no hair.
No hair. I noticed that. I did notice that.
And I'm like, okay, obviously that's a time thing, I guess.
No. They're just all bald. They're just all bald.
I think there's one there at the end. But anyway, okay.
It should have been climb the top bald mountain or something.
I think I've heard that traditionally it actually is hard to put minifigs together at on the show because it's just scatter parts, just dive in and pull parts to get minifigs together. So, all right. So anyway, all right, moving on. This is Paul and Nalita. Game time. This was a double. I think it was 2 coasters, and basically they were mirrored. Is that?
It's one complete cycle, right? But there were 2 hills and 2 loops,
and so 2 cars.
Had two cars running on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was really cool to see them both going up at the same time, and that type of stuff. I mean, you could tell they would get it to sync very shortly. They timed that really well that they were doing it that way.
Right.
But and I love the Jenga tower. But the card deck that they go through near, like over there, I mean, I couldn't tell what that was originally. So I mean, storytelling wise, it was hard to tell, right?
If you have to stand there, if you have to stand there and do a long explanation, then your storytelling probably isn't good enough. And my impression is that these two coasters are extremely similar to the sets. Other than they threw in a loop from the loop coaster, this is not. I didn't feel like it was that much technical innovation. They just scaled up what the set has basically and doubled it up. So for me, this was the bottom one personally.
I think the doubling up put them ahead in Jamie and Amy's eyes.
Right, but I didn't get how much more technical that was, and the fact that it was 2 loops, but they weren't back to back.
Yeah.
And again, and I think we even talked about this earlier in our chat, is that it was basically mirrored. So whatever you did once, just rinse and repeat. I mean, if you've built any Star Wars set, you're used to doing that. You don't even have to worry about it. You're already knowing you got to mirror build the set. So it feels like it could have been so much. I mean, I can't emphasize enough that the storytelling in the other one blew this one away. Yeah. And out of all of them, the storytelling in this one was the bottom. And while it was a roller coaster in the sense, and you did do some stuff, there wasn't anything special about the roller coaster that would push it over its lack in storytelling. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's let's just do this. And no disrespect to Paul and Alita. I was not there. They built a massive thing here, and they got the guy puking in the corner, which is hilarious.
This is really about
do this. Yeah, here we go.
This is really about Amy and Jamie's decision of who went home.
Yeah,
and I disagree.
Yeah, because this is lush and colorful, and you know what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
The white supports take away as well from the Jenga tower map because it's similar to white, whereas their black supports also kind of fade or blend into the background a bit better.
Yep,
and are black and red because of the ladybug.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You can tell that they have built the roller coaster set. They did those supports, which are pretty amazing from the set.
Although on the other end, the track is just hanging over, like by the end there. It was like, hey, wait a while.
Yeah. So okay. This came in third, and with ultimate respect from Paul and Alita, who've done a great job this season.
Oh, absolutely.
And are in the finale.
Yeah.
I still feel like this was not the third place build.
Correct. One more thing to just add about all of these builds is the fact that they have the orange track in segments because those parts are only available in orange.
Yep.
I mean, come on, Lego, get on it here and give us every piece of track in one color.
Yeah. And I was surprised that and for all we know, and that was probably edited out, and maybe they didn't give them a ding on that, but that kind of bothered me that if you were going to mix and every, the other three builds out of Emily and Kelly's used the orange loop.
Yeah.
And or not necessarily, they didn't use the orange. They used
but they had the orange parts at the top.
Yeah, they used some orange parts, but not necessarily the loop. But to me, that took away from the cohesiveness of the build from an aesthetics perspective. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, I'm being nitpicky, but pick one or the other. I guess maybe they just don't have all the parts available in the orange or the bright orange to do the rest of the track. So
orange doesn't have the hill climbing pieces, I think, because the orange coaster is a vertical lift.
Correct.
So as far as I remember.
Emily said to notice that their motors were covered, and nobody else.
I think Emily's motors were covered. That's the one.
I mean, Emily's motors are covered.
Yeah.
So anyway. Yeah, I mean, it took me a second to decode that was a Jenga tower. And I'm like, oh, that's clever, but still, it doesn't communicate that well. This doesn't decode very well. So
right.
Anyway.
You lose the cards. They tried to do the playing cards, but you lose them with, because I mean, all the supports are white and the playing cards are white, and so you unless you get right down next to it and you point it out, you really can't see them.
They should have probably put like cards all around, like a hand of cards, so you could at least see some of the other cards,
right?
With numbers on them or whatever.
And it probably should have had a few other sort of props, like for games of some kind of other. Like you could have built into the frame down below. You could have had like a Connect 4 frame
or dominoes.
Dominoes, other.
The dominoes would have been more black and white and still would have been lost inside the details. So,
dominoes don't have to be black and white though.
I wonder if they ran into some copyright things. They couldn't put Uno cards in there. They couldn't put certain game pieces that are copyrighted. I would wonder if all of a sudden they were like, we want to build this and this, and like you can't build that because that's a copyright. That kind of thing. So
it's possible. It's entirely possible.
Yeah. But I feel like something else could have been thrown in there, big chest.
Oh, I agree.
Something more props would have helped.
I mean, this right here is Montana. There's nothing aesthetic right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the state you're looking for is North Dakota because I grew up in Montana.
I was going to say, Montana's
mountains in Montana.
Yeah.
I was going to say North Dakota probably be more accurate.
I was going to say Winnipeg, but I didn't want to offend Sam.
I've been to Wyoming. Wyoming would also work. Yeah.
When I was at Tech, that's just a phrase I got from in design school. If you tried to be all arty-farty and leave a bunch of blank space on your paper, the professor would come and draw a big thing and just write Montana right there. It's your big empty space and everything. So that's just a phrase.
You've never been to Montana, right?
You're right. I'm never.
And his professor probably had never been to Montana either, but I think it's just a reference to the state map, probably. So.
Well, he also actually was an adjunct professor we were borrowing from Auburn, so any Alabama guy has not been. So anyway,
yeah.
All right, so here's the last build: the Sam and Nina's Kraken. And what do we think about this?
Well, the angle it's taken at makes the red train track blend into the Lego brick above.
Well, that's
you really can see that. I'm like, oh, that's. I mean, you can see it, but it's just anyway, bad angle.
I will say though that had the spiral not worked on the dragon, this would have been the clear winner.
Yeah.
This would have been the clear winner because they did have the storytelling with that Kraken is fantastic.
Yeah.
The waves in the bottom again is also fantastic. The roller coaster itself, I mean, while he was trying to reinvent the wheel, and I get the reason why he was trying to do it because he wanted to try and push the envelope to do something better. I think if he had spent less time, they would have even been trying to do that. They would have done even more so on the storytelling, and it would have been look even 10 times better from an aesthetic perspective, even though it looks beautiful already.
And this is where I think this one should have maybe been first, just because it did have both aspects. It didn't have the corkscrew, you know, it didn't make Jamie go, oh, wait, that actually works.
Correct.
But it did have a lot of storytelling. Like, it did have everything else. Like,
correct. Absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm surfacing. Had they not nailed that corkscrew mechanism, this hands down had the vibe of a roller coaster and the aesthetics of the story top notch.
One of the K's is not in the right place. One of the leg of the second K.
Oh,
setting aside Jeff's inherent pro-Canadian bias.
Hey, you know what? We have a Canadian in the final three. Yes, it's not three Canadians this time, but you know,
you're a 1/3 Canadian again.
I will say. Canadian. I will say that this is where Mom's comment about if we hadn't wasted 3 hours, they could have done a lot more with styling.
Yeah.
And they probably would have come in first, frankly, if they had hit upon this arrangement from the get-go. I will say I really like how when it comes down, it does that deflect where it kind of rolls up on the hill to take away enough momentum so it doesn't shoot off. Yeah. Although it would have been great television to see their coaster just shoot off the rails like in the prior episode. I would have thoroughly enjoyed that. But
even if it was during testing or whatever, like it was just an earlier shot. Yeah.
So, but so I mean, when we were sitting there on the couch watching this episode, I was like, oh, it'd be really fun. It's like a sea monster, and then they did the Kraken. So it was a good idea. I felt like with it, they had an additional hour or two. The styling, the scene setting could have been that much better. We've seen them do a great job with scene setting throughout the whole series. So
exactly.
I think
the fact that he did add in, or when I say he, I mean they, because for all I know, while Sam was dinkering with the track, Nina was cranking out the wave stuff. The fact that they only briefly touched on the wave in the video. That I was like, oh my god, that was a fantastic touch.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally put it, added points onto it for sure.
And when they were showing, as they were showing it, I think you might have just said this, but as they were showing it, you couldn't see that movement. And then finally they panned down, and it was like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. It was an Easter egg. Yeah. It was like, oh wow, that was such a fantastic addition to this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
go ahead, Mark.
I think one thing could have been really cool that would have added something is if they'd had the track go through the Kraken's mouth, because it's already down there. They could have just moved it over a little bit and had the coaster go through its mouth. It would have given it just a little more, kind of.
That would have been cool. Must have been flying though, because I'm just realizing that whole last part is completely straight. Like it's completely flat basically after that second curve or after the loop.
And I think that loop is actually probably what helps it slow it down so it doesn't go freaking flying off the next corner.
And they too have the pitched,
Mhm.
the curve here.
Nice.
So,
which is a cool feature. I thought that was when they added that in, that was just really, a cool thing to add for the coaster in general. But then, granted, Christopher and Robert totally verticalized theirs, and it's like, but does yours go inverted? The one thing that I didn't see anybody do, and is actually something I've had in my mind for a roller coaster theme, and granted it's space in general, but I was thinking like something that went around the track. Nobody went through a tunnel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite roller coasters have had tunnels. The Demon in Chicago, you go through all sorts of tunnels and twists and turns and corkscrews.
Mhm.
Granted, no, we're not getting corkscrews, but there was no tunnels. There was no. I mean, we got the cards that they went through, but it didn't. I wanted a tunnel where they popped through.
And I mean,
and up the other side.
Sam and Nina could have done that because they have the raised bottom at least a bit.
Oh yeah, or well, I mean, had they gone through the monster's mouth, would have been.
Yeah.
Granted, there would have been a question of, well, where do they come out?
Well, that's a crappy question, Dana.
It is a crappy question. I'm sorry.
Oh, Emily's saying they did do a tunnel of flowers.
Oh, okay.
oh yeah.
Oh,
There you
go
go.
back. I don't remember. Again, we don't get to see the meat and potatoes as much as we want to see, so we miss stuff.
Let's
Is
see,
there a tunnel?
where is
Can
that?
we see?
Is it right down here?
I mean, they go through the flowers in the other section. It might be behind the ladybug flight. I don't know. Or it's down the other side.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. Either way.
Or at the top. Is it the flowers at the top? They're all bowing inward.
Ah, okay. Yeah. The flowers at the top. Yep.
But let's just talk about this. White posts, green and black, and white posts.
Yep.
So Emily, and I mean, another prop to this build is it looks different than the other ones.
Yep.
And time saver too, because they're using those lattice structure pieces, which are like 10 bricks high, like flop and drop type thing, and just
and I'm sure Emily will come in here and add a little bit to it, but I think originally Emily and Kelly were using the white stanchions and then changed them out. I think so. That's more props. That's more props if that was a conscious decision. So
no, they did. They did it on purpose. So all right.
Good.
I'm going to come back. So the other thing that I know previous weeks don't count, but the other team, the team that I thought should have been in fourth, struggled all season with use of color and doing things that were very boxy. And this is another reason why I would have kept Emily and Kelly. I would have put them in the final three.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, like Kelly's, I've seen some of Kelly's builds at conventions, and I don't think she ever got the chance to flex that muscle as much because she does some really amazingly detailed stuff. And I was hoping that they would be in the final three as well, because I would love to have seen, like Kelly's type of build.
Yeah.
Agreed. But I think that's the most frustrating thing about all of this is, and I think we all agree, this should have been the third place build. We should have got to see it. I really think that this beats this, and no disrespect intended. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it out there. Aesthetically, I think this beats this. So while there are amazing pieces and parts, this is amazing pieces and parts. To me, this looks like a put together real roller coaster that's a continuous idea. That's just me.
Oh yeah. Oh no, totally. I mean, that's what I said. Had they not, I mean, if they didn't do that spiral and they'd done something more generic, it would have been no brainer that this would have been the win.
The rest was a basic roller coaster. Like it was like other than the spiral, it was same as Emily and Kelly's.
Yeah.
In theory.
And actually, Christopher even told Sam and Nina that they were going to win. He knew they were going to win. So, but I think that I'm pretty sure that Amy and Jamie were like, They made you eat crow, Jamie. They're going home the winner.
That's the thing that sold it, I think, for Christopher. And then they had the same advice. This is not going to, or you're sure this is going to work, or you don't want to pivot, as Nina and Sam did. And I know Sam was wanting to do that to make the color to be the same, to do something different, because the other team was doing something different with the bricks and everything.
Yep.
And I think he also realized that it's not worth losing the whole thing to get into the final and everything. So backup punt, he took second place, which I still think maybe he should have taken first. They're kind of taking second place a couple times too, when they might have taken first, in my opinion.
But I mean, it's gone back and forth between Christopher and Robert and Sam and Nina through the whole season. So, I mean, at this point in time, it's obvious that they were going to be in the final. I mean, I think we kind of, I saw the writing on the wall earlier at mid-season that those were going to be two of the teams that would make it all the way to the end, unless they did something crazy that just didn't work and they got dinged on something technical and sent home for something stupid, which we've seen happen. The third team was going to be a wild card, and I agree with Matthew's comment about if we were to look at from a consistency on shape and design and where things are going to go. I wonder if we'll be making a boxy comment next time we're reviewing sets.
Possible.
Yeah.
So just looking at the stats, Christopher and Robert won the last three, and on the third episode they came in second.
Yep.
Nina and Sam won the first, second, and fourth, and they never came in second.
Is that right?
So it's interesting from that point of view that
I've been team Christopher and Robert since about mid-season. That I think they walk away with the whole thing.
I'm thinking Nina and Sam do.
From a social perspective, I would probably guess that's happened. That could be two, but I've been amazed that these two guys have come out and given us so much over and over and over again.
Marco.
I don't know. So here's the thing. The final is you got to think about what's going on now. Next week is a best of show or funny moments or top 100 filler show because they lost contestants. But I'm thinking, though, Christopher and Robert are going to be at a disadvantage in coming up with something totally original because they've had to get a task and then apply knowledge that they have, and they're just running out of knowledge. They're not running out of creativity and art per se. All right. And so, se,
no.
I think that's why I think Nina and Sam are coming at this with they've got the creativity side and the expertise in mock building coming at the other side.
I disagree. I think if you're a contestant at Lego Masters or you're in the running for it, you're already thinking months ahead. What is our final build going to be? And you've already planned that thing out. I mean, Eric and Steven had said they did that as well. Steven,
I pulled for your dang Canadian, and you're giving me grief about it. Come on.
No, I'm just saying that, if you're coming to this episode and you have no idea what you're going to build, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's what I'm thinking. Will it be derivative? Just I'm just using stuff I know from sets and slapping that together. Or
yeah, but
I don't know.
I mean, we've seen them pull stuff out that we did not expect them to be able to do.
Yeah.
And
I can't believe you're doubting their ability to be creative after many
at
weeks.
this point in time in the game. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, not their ability to be creative, and maybe the extent of the ability of them to be the extent of their creativity. I think that's just going to be. This is a big build. This is a 24-hour whatever. There's got to be a lot of muscle memory, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I just think
what
that
you're saying. So what you're saying is, if I give you 24 hours in a build, and I tell you got to build something, and you got to make creative and do whatever you want, but I'm going to put a stipulation that you can't build a spaceship. Does that mean that you're not going to be able to build something?
I'm going to tell you, shut up and go home.
Because I'm right. Because I know that you can build something other than a spaceship if I'm requiring you to think outside your box. These guys have been thinking outside the box the whole time. I completely disagree with you.
and Emily was saying that they didn't know what their final build would be until episode 5. But she's also coming as a team that was kind of put together. I mean, you knew each other, but
Right.
you hadn't built together before that point. So
right. Because I mean, like we joke the fact, if Chris and I were on the show, our big final build would be a giant moon-based spaceship thing with monsters. I mean, because that's what we would want to do and have fun with.
Mm-hmm.
But we know each other. We've been hanging out with each other for years, so that's kind of organic for us. Now, if we turned around and came out and did, a completely different, like Fabuland inspired animal creation thing, people will be like, "Wow, I didn't see that coming."
But I want to see that. I want to see you.
But we
Chima Apocalypse. That's what we would do.
Fabuland Apocalypse. I'm just putting that out there. Somebody's got to build it now.
That's
Apocalypse, Fabuland. Like
Apocalypse Fabuland.
Well, Jake and I have talked about having Chima Apocalypse, like the whatever, and nobody buys Chima on Whatnot, so I got plenty of Chima laying around. So
actually, I was going to tell you that if you want to unload some of that Chima, reach out to Exobricks because he's doing a Chima build in the future. Because I was at Bricks and Minifigures dropping something off and mentioned him like, hey, if you find anything to Chris about, anything from insectoids, UFO, life on Mars, Mars mission, he's like, oh, Mars mission? Oh, I got a guy who comes in here and buys up all the Mars mission stuff. Like, I'm like, yes, I know exactly who it is. And he goes, and he's also been buying up Chima. And I was like, excuse me?
Chima Witch Trials.
Chima Witch Trials. So I had to message Exobricks. I'm like, say, by the way, are you building anything Chima? He laughs out. He goes, it's an upcoming project. And I'm like, oh my god.
By the way, the Chima Witch Trials, you could just have the turkey on a stick, that's been burned, and that would be funny.
Yeah.
All right. Any more comments about the episode? We hated to see Emily, and we hated to see them go home. It just did not seem fair. I was shaking my fist at the cloud, like an old man, because I did not think that was right.
Like at Christopher and Robert's build, the cloud.
Yes, that cloud. Okay. Darn it. Yes, we can. We can do that. That would be amazing. We can do that. We need class and somebody to bring us down our average age.
Although it might be more common that Emily might drop an F-bomb more than anybody else who's been on this show. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call.
I didn't cry. I'm a heartless person. So I was angry. I was like, "Dadgummit, that's not right." So
his tear ducts have been removed. So.
Oh me! All right, so great show. We enjoyed it. Next week is the best of kind of thing. We will probably not cover that next Monday, but there is a whole lot of space that has been released, and hopefully maybe even some more space that will be released. So our Thursday show we're going to talk about all the space, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Of all the stuff that has been released. We need to check and see what is actually released and what is leaks before we show pictures.
No, everything at the same time. Because I had posted, I don't want to show any pictures because I couldn't determine what was or wasn't. And then someone mentioned, well, if it shows up on Brickset, you're clean and clear to talk about it.
We love you too, Emily. We were really pulling for you. So
Totally.
So, Emily, you guys this is what I would love for you guys to be able to do, to build what you would have built. That would be really cool. Even if it's a miniature version, your team needs to build what you would have built. And maybe you've already done that. That would be cool to show, because I would love to know what you built. And and when we talk about the finale, we would love to have you and all of our friends on that have been on the show. So we'll see what we can do. It would be a goal of ours to be able to bring on the actual champions and then bring all the former champions on, which we could pull off, and or at least a lot of them. So that would be a lot of fun. So we'll try to work on that.
Yeah, Emily, can you do what would have been your final build in the next 2 weeks so we can compare it to
that's right,
what's on the show? And then
you get 2 weeks, not 24 hours.
We could judge it as though you were in the final that way.
Just find time to get over to Kelly's place and get the bricks, and just
simple.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's
nothing too hard.
And I hope I sent Emily. She needed the cyborg brickhead or whatever, and I had one laying around. I sent it to her. I do not know if the U.S. Post Office has accomplished its task, but it's taken a week. So.
The U.S. Post Office has been dragging its ass along with everybody else, and it's been really slow the last couple of weeks. So
I just got a Bricina order today, and I had to pay $40 for it for customs and duty
because of customs and duty.
Yeah, they sent to DHL, and then it came through our regular Canadian Post. But as soon as it hit the border, or as soon as it hit the country, they paid me.
Yeah, I had an order from New Jersey that should have arrived Thursday and didn't arrive until today.
Yeah. Well, and even Bricks and Pieces is like 15 from being shipped to getting to my house. It's averaging about 15 or 16 days right now. And years ago, or last year, it would have been 5 or 6 days.
Yeah,
it was really quick. So I don't know what they've done. They've changed something.
One thing that I do know about the Postal Service is that there's been an increase in the amount that Amazon and UPS are both like dumping stuff into the Postal Service.
Oh, okay.
Kind of as their overflow.
It's really the final leg.
That last mile that they call it is being dumped onto the USPS, and that's really affecting deliveries. So it's it's a log jam.
Yeah.
Although I will say that I've gotten most of my Black Friday's purchases are what I call self-Christmas. So
those have all arrived. Yes, you're absolutely.
Yes, those have arrived. I've even gotten the Lego stuff. The only thing that hasn't arrived really is the bricks and pieces from overseas. That's take weeks. But
I mean they were getting a little better on that, but my November 8th order still hasn't shipped. So
yeah.
But I had a back-ordered set that actually is now in warehouse.
So. Same here. Monkey Kid?
Yeah, it was the Dragon of the East.
Yep. Mage Dragon? Yep.
Yeah, it originally told me it was back-ordered until February or something, but then today I got the charge on my card and it's in warehouse. So.
Yep. Same here.
Just a safety tip: if you use PayPal to buy stuff from Bricks and Pieces, don't. Because if it's lasted a long amount of time, all of a sudden you'll get this call from Lego going, we need to figure out your payment, or it just gets delayed, dropped until you go and you call them and go, why is this going on? Well, PayPal dropped your whatever, so you need to be careful with PayPal. So
I never pay for Bricks and Pieces with PayPal anymore for that reason.
On our show on Wednesdays, we've been tracking the amount of available sets on Shop at Home, and the weekend before VIP weekend, we're Insiders weekend, and after Black Friday, Lego's availability dropped 40% from 81% to 43% of sets available. It was kind of crazy.
Good times.
Yeah. Good times. All right. This has been a great show. Thank y'all for being here. We're going to head on out. Come back on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. We will talking about all the space and all the new sets that are coming out. There's great sets. The burger truck is actually one of the favorite things. And the friend space, we have to debate whether friend space is better than the city space and everything that we've got.
Yes.
I mean, we can go ahead and say that there's some really cool stuff going on there, and it's super modular. But we'll talk about all that kind of stuff on Thursday. We hope to see you there. Be awesome and build awesome. Be kind to your neighbor. Good night, everybody.